Life is a state of constant, unavoidable friction. It operates like an active war zone, ensuring that at some point you will face catastrophic failure. There are external forces actively working against you. Things go wrong, pressure mounts, and those cascading failures systematically attempt to dismantle your progress. When that immense opposition hits, human psychology heavily favors retreat. The immediate, intense temptation is to stand down, give up, and simply accept defeat. The disaster itself is secondary. The primary threat to your survival is the internal temptation to stop fighting. Eventually, you may be pushed to absolute rock bottom, a claustrophobic space where subjective reality suggests that conditions cannot possibly get any worse. It feels exactly like being trapped in a psychological vacuum. You are completely enclosed, with no visible exit and no obvious path forward. This animated diagram tracks that exact descent. A plunging trajectory hits an absolute, impenetrable baseline. Reaching that strict floor dictates a pivot. Because there is zero room to drop lower, the only available vector left is upward. Hitting absolute rock bottom is not the end of the story. It provides the required starting condition for your ultimate challenge. You are now in the storm. This is the chaotic, highly turbulent phase of actively enduring a major life crisis. This diagram demonstrates perspective distortion. When a tiny, dark focal point sits against your eye, it blocks out a massive background light source. But as the dark point shifts, the illusion breaks. The massive bright circle was simply obscured. Objective reality dictates a much different scale. The hardship surrounding you is localized, and it holds a firm expiration date. Surviving the darkest stretches requires breaking that cognitive distortion. You have to recognize that the blinding proximity of the pain has compromised your perspective. The active directive required to shatter that illusion is relentless, continuous forward momentum. You now enter the crucible state. This is an inescapable trial by fire, defined by extreme, crushing discomfort. This state serves a precise mechanical utility. The intense external pressure is systematically burning away your pre-existing weaknesses. You are facing a strictly binary test. There are no partial grades. The only way to fail is to voluntarily quit. You cannot avoid it. You cannot detour around it. You must fight through the pain. The deep pain experienced during this crisis serves an active, necessary function. You are being mechanically forged into a superior state. Eventually, the storm breaks. An exit path becomes undeniably visible, bringing physical and mental relief. Stepping out of that localized darkness triggers found psychological shift. You successfully re-establish contact with objective, positive reality. When you refuse to stop moving forward, you are essentially waiting out a finite condition. Time, coupled with persistence, ensures that you eventually outlast the temporary boundaries of the crisis, which reveals the true underlying purpose of the entire cycle. The person who walked into that storm no longer exists. The trial successfully installed specific new attributes. You walk out with increased durability, deep resilience, and the hardened psychological profile of a survivor. Where your former self was prone to collapse, this new identity is resilient. You carry a structure that has been proven through conflict, making you increasingly difficult to break. Looking back at the journey, you see the agony of the darkness for what it truly was, the required transactional cost to obtain this strength. No matter how overwhelmingly dark life becomes, the absolute refusal to surrender remains the only mechanism capable of converting raw suffering into victory.